Welcome back to another episode of Kingz Don't Die. This is your favorite leader, Showtime Kibeto, and today's going to be a very fun and educational episode. I'm excited to dive into what's happening in the financial service industry right now. And today we're going to be talking and kind of diving into retirement. I know everybody wants to retire one day, but there's a big gap and there's a big hole in the retirement system. And, I've had the privilege to be in the financial service industry for over 13 years of my career. I'm a proud product of our leadership. I'm a proud product of GFI, of our organization, and the things that we're doing as a company. I love the fact that every day we get to help clients, we get to educate people. We do inspirational marketing where we lead by inspiring people with their finances, educating our clients. We want to encourage them to really dive into their financial situation and really get educated, because here's the truth. If you don't plan for your future and you don't plan correctly, you're going to be on the government's plans and the government's programs. And guess what? It can cost you a lot. So today we're going to be diving into some stats and some numbers on why it's going to be so important to have a financial professional and have a team that can help you going into your later years. So let's get into it. So number one, right off the bat, if you're looking at the retirement system itself, there's insufficient savings. About 40% of Americans right now save less than $100,000 for retirement. This is pretty scary. The average retirement savings for all working Americans right now is about $95,000. All right. So there's a big gap in just saving money right now. Majority of people, they know how to work for their money, but they don't necessarily know how to have their money start working for them. Right. So one of the things that you got to learn is you got to learn the rules to the money game. You got to learn the three-way money grows. So you got to learn about compound interest, and not just compound interest. You got to learn about uninterrupted compound interest. And then there's three ways that your money can grow in the marketplace. Your money can stay fixed. It can grow in a variable account, or you could actually participate in index strategy where you get credited interest instead of being open to the market where you can make a lot of money, but then you could also lose a lot of money. And then the last thing that you got to know about is on your accounts, your taxes. Now, we're all in a situation where we know taxes most likely are going to go up in the near future. We just came out of a 4-year run where more money was printed in the last 4 years from 2020 to 2023 than ever before in the history of the United States. So what does that say? What does that tell you? That tells you that, guess what? All right, we need a lot of help right now when it comes to understanding what the right plan and the right strategy and the right move is going to be. Now, here's one thing that I will tell you. Being in the business for over 13 years, it's okay to diversify, just don't diversify all in the same thing. I sit down with clients all the time and they say, I got money in the stock market. I got money in mutual funds. I got money in my 401k. I got money in an IRA. And then I go, okay, how much of that is variable? How much of it can you lose? All of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. It's not diversified. Does that make sense? Having all your eggs in the same strategy with different names is called suicide, because if they all go down, guess what? They all go down. So the fact of the matter is right now, there's a huge insufficient savings, again, of just families and households. And I get it. Inflation has been through the roof. We've gone through COVID. We've gone through all this stuff. And majority of my clients, I always have to remind them, you probably just need to make more money. And that's a different conversation, a different topic. But that's the number one. Number one right now is there's insufficient savings for retirement. So how much are you saving for retirement right now? Are you saving 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% of your monthly income? Again, you could have that conversation, and then we could put together strategies and different ideas to make sure that you get there to the promised land. All right, so that's number one, insufficient savings. Number two is Social Security. This is a big one because so many baby boomers right now are living off of Social Security. The baby boomer market is one of the biggest markets that is out there. $68 trillion of money is in the hands and in the wealth of the baby boomers right now. Between 1946 and 1964, 78 million kids were born, and guess what? They all needed to eat baby food. So guess what all the baby boomers need to do right now? All the baby boomers, they need to retire right now. And you know what's happening right now with retirement? They're living longer, but they're running out of money faster. So 40% of Americans right now during retirement, almost half of everybody on retirement relies on Social Security, and the average monthly check is $1,800. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of scary, by the way. A lot of mistakes that clients make when they say, well, when it comes to retirement, they tell me all the time, they say, you know what, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. Well, did you know when you're in a lower tax bracket, that just means you're receiving less income? That's not a good plan. That's not a good strategy. Can you live on less than what you're making right now? Can you live on less than what you're earning right now? Absolutely not. So you need to, again, make more money, pay down your debt, save more money, and don't rely on Social Security. By the way, for the next generations, everybody else following the baby boomers, you are literally having your money taken out of checks to go and pay for the baby boomers right now. That account is most likely going to be depleted in 10 to 15 years. So the second biggest stat and one of the biggest issues right now is Social Security is going to be depleted probably within the next 10 to 15 years. Number three, rising healthcare costs. In retirement, you are going to get older. There's a likelihood that you're going to get sick. Right now, the stats say 76% of people are going to need some type of long-term care or some type of living benefits, because basically you're going to come down with a terminal illness, chronic illness, or a critical illness. Now, it's going to cost you anywhere in the healthcare pocketbook, anywhere between $250,000 to $300,000 for healthcare costs as you get older. So, where does everybody get their money? From the states, government programs, Medicare, Medi-Cal, family. They got to cash out their 401ks. You're going to get older. And again, this is why you got to be healthy. This is why you got to take care of your body right now. So when you do go into that stage, when you do get into that age, guess what? You're going to be okay. You're not going to have to rely on any other government programs, because you're either taking care of your health where you don't need it, or you got efficient plan and strategies and funds set aside for that case. Just in-home care or a nursing home alone, that can cost anywhere between $7,000 to $20,000 every single month. Not only did I experience and did I see it with my family, recently with my father-in-law, he went through it. Unfortunately, when he passed away, it was costing a lot of money during that season of his life. So number three is what? The rising healthcare costs. Number four, workforce participation. What does that mean? People are not retiring early because they can't afford it. They're staying at the working force later. By the way, they quietly crept up retirement to 67. Who knows and who says it doesn't get to 70, 72, 75? So people that are 65 and older, they're actually still employed right now. They're either working full time, they're working part time. Many Americans right now feel like they got to return to work because savings of Social Security is not there. It's not enough to sustain inflation and their lifestyle. Did you know by 77 years old, majority of people are running out of money right now? That's a scary number. So the new retirement system is work for 40 to 50 years, be off for, let's say, 5 to 10 years, run out of money, and then go back to work. How scary is that? Don't you want to turn in your retirement years into your golden years? Don't you want to retire and stay retired? Don't you want to turn your paychecks into your playchecks? Well, guess what? You have to know the rules to the money game. And let me tell you, Unfortunately, the government or your job is not going to give you the roadmap. Your job is going to take the best years of your life so you can help their company grow, their company be profitable, and the government wants you to be under their rules so they can control you. They don't want you thinking and operating for yourself. That's why they give you all your benefits through your job and through your corporation. Number five, people are still in debt during retirement. Just because you're retired doesn't mean you're out of debt. Debt right now in retirement, people that are over 65, they still have 50% of their debt, from mortgages to credit cards to car loans. This is crazy. The seniors, on average numbers right now, between 65 and 74 years old, they still have approximately $1,000 worth of debt. You're supposed to be debt free in retirement. You're not supposed to be worrying about money during retirement. You're supposed to be done with all that stuff. The kids are supposed to be gone. Guess what's happening? Because no one teaches people about financial literacy, because nobody teaches anybody how money really works, because everybody just says, get all your stuff through your jobs. That's okay. My job will take care of me. That's all a lie. You know why? Because we sit down with clients in their 60s, their 70s, and sometimes even in their 80s, and they're still worried about money. They're still concerned about the debt they have. They still think about what's going to happen when they pass away. We don't want to be a burden to our kids. Because everybody knows if you are not taken care of, guess what? Somebody else is going to have to do it for you. And nobody wants to be responsible for somebody else's financial situation. Number six, longevity. People are living longer. People are living to 80s and 90s right now. They're saying our generation is going to start living past 100 years old. So what if you retire at 70 and you start living to 100, 110? You still need 30 or 40 years of money. By the way, let me ask you a question, and I just want you to think about this as you're listening to this or if you're watching this. If right now people are running out of money by 77 years old, and 76% of people are going to need some type of healthcare money as they get older, what makes you different? And yet you have the same plan as everybody else. What makes you different? What makes you different? Think about it. It's not your fault. However, it is going to be your fault if you get educated and you don't take advantage of it. Because you got to look at what everybody else is doing, why everybody else is struggling, and then you got to go do the complete opposite. People got money in the market. I'm not going to have money in the market as my first and only option. People have all their benefits tied through their job. I'm going to have outside sources first to make sure me and my household are taken care of. I had conversations with this all the time with clients. They say, well, this person's changing the rules and this person's changing the rules. Hey, you know who's in control of your household? You. You set the example. You set the standard. It should not matter who's in what White House. It should not matter who's in a government chair. Why are you letting these people make decisions for your household? This is where leaders in the households need to step up and say, you know what? If everybody else wants to buy into, right, what the government's trying to sell us and trying to tell us what to do, you go buy into it. I'm not. You got to have a little faith. You got to have a little courage. You got to be willing to think different. Okay, you can't go line up with the sheep and let the government slaughter your whole family just because everybody else is doing it or just because this is what they're telling us to do. All right. If they say, hey, everyone go jump off the cliff, are you going to go do it too? Hopefully not. Number seven, retirement age is shifting. Retirement age is shifting around. It used to be around 62, 65, but however, right now people are delaying retirement due to financial insecurity, often because inadequate savings or rising healthcare costs. 1 in 3 retirees right now are starting to withdraw Social Security so early just to get out of their work right now. Just to get out of their work. So you got one group who's trying to prolong Social Security, who's trying to stay in the workforce longer because they are scared. Then you have another group of people who are trying to leave the workforce and say, I want to get my money right now and get the heck out of here while I can. You see how it's so inconsistent right now? How it's so scary? And guess what happens? This is what the government wants. And it's your job as a leader to understand this. By the way, you are a leader if you're the head of household. And you need to quit putting your trust and your hope into people who have shown over the not just years, over the decades that they have no idea what they're doing. Number 8, financial stress in retirement, around 50% right now. Retirees are worrying about having enough money to cover for future expenses, healthcare, housing. By the way, let's say a water heater goes out. Let's say a dishwasher, an appliance, a car breakdown. Most of these retirees don't have that extra $300 to $1,000. You know why? Because they're strapped for cash. They probably underplanned. They probably believed in their 401k. They probably believed in the government system. They probably believed their family was going to take care of them by now. Many retirees report that they've underestimated the amount of money needed for retirement, especially in the area of healthcare and lifestyle, right? So again, if everybody's struggling in retirement right now, and majority of people all have the same plans, what makes you different? Number 9, the retirement gap between income groups. There's a big difference from people who have money during retirement to people who don't have money during retirement. And let me tell you this, the people who have money during retirement, they're not really worried about things. They're still going on vacation. They're still enjoying their home. They can still tithe to their church. They can serve at their church. They're not looking for work. They don't need their kids to live with them. They don't need to move into their kids' home. They probably have some great doctors and medical. So they're not really worried about it. But it's the people who have low income. It's the people who didn't properly plan. It's the people who thought that this day was never going to come. It's the people who thought, oh, my job will take care of me. Well, you know what that group is? The bottom 20% of people in retirement have zero savings. And this is why you see so many households and unfortunately so many cultures all live together, because they all have to share the same rent, the same income, the same cars. And it's really sad because we do not live in the land of the free. We live in the land of the free choices, but not the free, because majority of people clearly are not free. They're still trapped. And number 10, post-retirement quality of life. Many retirees experience a decline in their living standards as they transition from their working years to retirement due to their reduced income. It made sense years ago when inflation and taxes and people weren't getting gouged for milk and eggs and gas, that you could probably live on a little bit less. But I want you to think about it right now. And if you have kids, do you want your kids, when they go to retire, to be stressed out about retirement? Well, why are you? Why is it okay for you? The answer, majority of people just don't know where to go for help. And here's also another scary thing. Because majority of people have never heard of different strategies, have never sat down with somebody, they listen to people who are not successful or have a license in a certain field that can impact their family for generations. So don't be that person. Don't be that person. I am so proud of what we've done over the last 13 years, and God's blessed us to have the ability and the capability to go out in the marketplace and teach families, congregations, business owners, companies, different strategies and techniques on how to just have some breathing room, how to actually have a financial plan. So if this is something that you might be open to learning about, having a conversation, by the way, everything that we do is for free. If you would like more information, please reach out. If you felt like this was good information, that somebody that is close to retirement, wants to retire, is in retirement, that they need to hear, please send this to them, forward it to them, comment, like, share, subscribe, And thank you so much. This was a special retirement case on Kingz Don't Die. And I'll see you next week. Thank you very much.